Cool. Welcome to the New Earth
New
podcast.
Earth Podcast.
Woo! I'm NeonPrince, and we have a beautiful guest today, Stefano.
Yeah,
Wow. So
glad to
today,
be here.
yes, welcome. Bienvenidos. Iko mamai.
Yeah, come on.
Today we're going to be talking about heart space activation and plant medicines. Stefano, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Cool. I am here in Hawaii, starting a business called Copy Hawaii. My favorite color is orange. Um, what else? I I'm here working hard to uh, build a hub and to uh, support plant medicine, plant teachings to re-enter our lives. A very old tradition. I think nowadays it's important to remember as we all develop in different ways, as technology becomes more paramount in our lives. Um, I think we have tens of thousands of years of experience with the reverence of plant organisms as the primary technology to behold, to develop relationship with, to learn from, to ourselves and the world. Um, we're talking about before civilizations. We're talking about hunter-gatherer societies. Uh, yeah, and it's still a part of us, so intimately a part of us. When we feel it, we feel it, and I mean, people do I know that? How many people do you know that have this like relationship with certain plants, right? They just um, you can see it in people that just really love cannabis. You can see people that really like tripping and the whole thing of psychonauts. And this is
Psychonauts.
right.
Mm.
The whole process of like, oh, there's this relationship to experiencing more,
Wow.
right? And there's
Yes.
this when it arrives back to the gentleness of a plant that's growing. And I mean, there's so many different types of entheogens and all that, but this is based on a very old tradition, like very very old, older than any text that that you know I'm working my part and what I think might be cool for me and for people that I care about to integrate plant teaching. That's the key. That's the key to be able to learn from plants. I think requires a choice to learn, not just completely being operated by the plants. That um, that yeah, plants can be taken in a healthy way, in ways that help benefit themselves. You want me to pause so we can cut this part out?
How do you mean cut it out?
Oh, is this a live stream?
Yeah, live stream.
Okay, this is live stream. Live stream. There's all sorts of things happening in the background. In the end, it's all love. We're all working towards remembering what's actually true.
So for me personally, I feel as though, all plants are, as you mentioned, all plants are medicines. And so, I've just having a smoothie or some fruits and vegetables, that's plant, let food be your medicine. And also, I've done a lot of experimented with, some quote unquote traditional plant medicines. And we have a beautiful tea brew right over here, the Blue Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, in particular, which plant medicines are you working with? You mentioned the cappy vine, and that's using in ayahuasca. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with the ayahuasca and how it's changed your life or affected your life? Why you're so with others, and do you believe it's something that everyone or most people or a lot of people would benefit from?
Right. So, thank you. Um, right. So I started working with just the ayahuasca vine.
Mm.
It's commonly referred to as copy vine,
Oh.
and that's what we're sticking with. Just the vine is totally legal. I did a lot of investigation about it. There are some places where it's kind of gray tape, uh, similar to CBD, but maybe actually more inclusive than CBD.
Sure.
And I first started working with it during a hard time in my life. Things were dramatically changing.
Mm.
Um, I I had decided to start a CBD business, and the market was flooded. This is after working for a medical marijuana company, developing different ways to take in cannabis. Uh, we we made a effervescent tablet for quick action of people that suffer from uh, the word is uh, seizures.
Oh,
So
okay.
quick acting when people know their seizures coming on, people that want to avoid the pulmonary, right, want to avoid lung pull,
Yeah.
they can take a drink, and because of the effervescent tablet, it's quick acting, and it's
Wow.
also really hard.
Yes.
So I'm so proud of it. But yeah, me and my brother, we worked on that. So anti-cancer research. So
Wow.
slowly going towards plant medicine. Actually, the anti-cancer research was on the autumn crocus, which we know has colchicine, which is something that prevents cells from splitting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always been in my life. Always like plants to medicine. Yeah. And so eventually, uh, and markets flooded. Uh, I went through some very serious changes. Uh, you know, Left the community, serious changes in relationship, and I just kind of just trusted myself. I had some guidance from a witch, a female practitioner of plant medicines that's been doing it for a very very long time, and she kind of just suggested the copy, and it was such a big request. Thinking back on
Wow.
it, like yeah, just start working with this thing that you don't know too much about, that a lot of people aren't working with, and I just started working with it. Eventually, understanding I need to find a way to get it into like a routine way. How can I work with this plant in a routine way, in a way that's grounded and active in life? Because I was in a place where there was no. I needed to reestablish my foundations,
Mm.
and so I started working with the plant, low dose, and I've had many very beautiful experiences with plants. This one was very particular. It was an ordinary day. It was an ordinary time. The sun was setting, and I just remembered how beautiful life was. And I just started crying with joy on the spot.
Wow.
And even though everything was going wrong in my life,
Mm.
there was something that I felt inside of me that it was a full state, maybe an alpha state or a theta state. I don't even know what it
Wow.
was, but it was essentially this heart pouring out of me in just magnitudes, like voluptuous waterfalls of of what felt like pure love as the sun was setting over Mauna Kea, and I was
Wow.
just on my step, right, about to enter my house, and was crying with joy.
Wow.
It was raw. It was a raw intimacy with the capacity to behold life in all that it is, no matter what was being thrown at me. To stand in my own personal integrity, to stand in what I thought was beautiful, to create it with both my hands, no matter what was happening. And I only felt my heart seeping gently in these very colorful waterfalls, so patiently. There's nothing I could do, no place to go. I just I just experienced it. And there's a part of my brain that remembered feeling times in my life in very small amounts from childhood up until that point. And there was a part of me that was like, I'm going to remember this, because I started learning about how to enter emotional states by choice. Things that you can do, ways to get grounded, ways to uh, become more alive, ways to feel. Meditations,
Yes.
right?
I like everything that you mentioned. I had a very similar experience. Some years ago when I first got on the spiritual path, I went through a personal tragedy in my family life, and actually had a family member transition from malaria, visiting West Africa, and that really changed my life, put me on a spiritual journey. I began studying, reading African, indigenous, meditating every day for, going up to hours a day or an hour, 2 hours a day, changed my diet. And the biggest thing that I learned from that entire spiritual journey and the ability to tap into unconditional love in each and every moment.
Yeah.
And that no
Yeah.
matter what we're going through, we can choose to see that situation in a way that can fill us up with peace and with love. And definitely my diet and my exploration of plant medicines help to inform that. And I'm just interested as to how the cappy, you've gravitated towards the cappy vine and you associate it with heart chakra awakening as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I had been up until that point. I loved everything you said.
thank you. Wow.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. Maybe it's inspiring to any of you listeners. Just these experiences we have. It's kind of like something that just wants to grow out of each other.
Out of sharing,
Yeah, sharing.
yeah. Like we were mentioning earlier, before the podcast, we had a great discussion, and we are kind of agreeing that the world that's emerging, the new earth, I like to call it, is the new currency of the new earth is sharing. Sharing your heart, sharing your creativity, sharing your beauty, sharing your ideas, sharing your love with the world. And that is what abundance into each and every one of us. So each one of us are billionaires.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So, cue me in again.
Uh,
What's the question?
Actually, before we wrap up, I noticed that you have a product.
Yeah,
Maybe you
the
can tell
product.
us, share your product with you and where to
Very good.
find it.
Okay, so over here, this is the offering. These are Capivine lozenges, right? And we have it in a more sugar form, and then this is more of a paleo form. The
Can you
Capi,
hold this? I'll just,
sure.
talk
I
about it.
appreciate it. We uh, we brew the Capivine alone in traditional means, and then we have the extract lab tested so that we can provide a routine experience, a reliable routine experience to each of the lozenges. They just melt in your mouth, and they're really so gentle that you get to interact with it. When it comes to being a human, the